Hi guys, so this is my second video and I'm super excited to be doing this. So I guess I just want to start off by saying there's so many different topics that I can talk about. There's so many different things to look into and secrets of God and just about His presence and all these different things, and just deciding which thing to talk about first it's crazy. I mean, there's an endless list. So, but I guess first, just what I want to say is that there's a lot of things in life that just don't always make sense, don't ever make sense. You know, like something will happen and we don't know why in the world it did. Like, we'll just be like, okay, God, like, why did that happen? And wait, sometimes we'll read like way too much into the detail of stuff. Like, I do that all the time. Like, I'm always trying to figure out like what the meaning of each thing is, or like, what God was trying to teach me in that moment and all that stuff. And I tend to get like really stressed out sometimes. And I think that a lot of times Satan means for us to assume that unless in every single moment, we're following like exactly to according of like what God would have wanted, then it's like if we aren't doing that, then we must be doing something wrong. And there definitely is truth to living and walking with the Spirit and living according to the Spirit. I totally believe in that. I totally think that God does mean for us to constantly be asking Him what His will is. But I know for me, a lot of times, Satan will just be like, Ashley, like, you're probably doing this wrong, or you're probably doing that wrong, or maybe God wanted you to keep doing that, or maybe you should have kept doing that, or like, you didn't do this the right way. And he'll kind of make me think like, this is so confusing, I'm never going to get this. And then I try to listen to what God is saying, and it doesn't make sense, and then it's just this whirlwind of I don't know what's going on. And I think the thing is, though, I think all of us have kind of had that time where it's like we really know what the heart of God looks like. And when we find that, those few couple times in our lives, it's like a rare jewel. Like, even Jesus talks about heaven that way. And he says, there was a man who sold everything he had to go buy a field, and basically it was worth selling everything he had, because the field had, it was precious, and he's willing to just give up everything. And I think that, just a lot of times we don't really recognize that there's so much value in those moments that we sense the true presence of God and the true heart of God. And it's, how like he'll just seem like Jesus will just seem so perfect one moment, and then the following day you're like, I don't really want to follow you, or I don't really want to, do whatever I feel like you're calling me to do, or I don't want to be nice with my siblings, or I'd rather just be upset and all that stuff. And the thing is that Jesus never changes. Satan just twists our view of Him. And, God is constant. I had one of my friends tell me that just like gravity is something that is constant. Just like no matter if you could drop anything and it's always going to fall. It's not just going to change. And like math, it's constant. And that's an attribute and a reflection of a quality of God, is that He's constant in everything that He does. And I just think that a lot of times, when Satan's like, oh, you're doing this wrong, or oh, you should have been doing this and all that, it can be so hard to tell the difference between when Satan is telling you aren't doing something right versus when God is pulling you to do something. An example would be Like if I'm reading my Bible, and sometimes I'll even feel like, you know, you have to read more, like you have to memorize all of this, you have to keep going, you have to figure this all out, don't leave until you figure this all out. And sometimes it's like, is that Satan trying to stress me out and be like, oh, you aren't allowed to leave this spot? Or is it God, saying, come on, Ashley? And you can really look at it two different ways. You can say, well, one, Satan wouldn't want you digging into God's Word, but he would love to make you annoyed with it. And also, you could see that, well, God would want you to dig into His Word, but God doesn't yank on our arm. He comes to us personally, and He shows us that He loves and that He cares, and comes down to our level just like He did when He came to save us. And He comes down to our level, and it's just, it's different. It's so different from those pulling feelings that we get sometimes, where Satan's just like, change this, you're wrong, you're imperfect, because Jesus, like, it's okay, he'll get down on his knees and look you in the eye and be like, it's okay, I'm here for you. Like, you don't have to do anything to try and,